meeting in the town library for the trustees. We'll do a roll call. Terry Lickers.
Present.
Dick Ray. Here. Alex Burke. Here. Dick Siri. Here. So we have a quorum. And we'll also have Gene Ackley and Ellen Met. Attendance, not here at the moment, is my requirements. Okay. So, let's get started. Minutes, approval of the minutes, and those are the minutes from the meeting of the joint meeting of the library and the historical commission. Alex, thank you for putting them together.
Welcome.
I've read them. Terry, have you had a chance to read them? Would you read them and then
Is anybody taking minutes?
I'm sketching. Go ahead.
yes, it's we're going to talk about it. It's a good weekend. The essence of it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Did you notice the responses? Well, not those. There are different ones on the other side.
No, I did. I just realized.
Yeah, no, but they're not quite as attractive, but they're much more practical and energy efficient.
Well, because it changes things out, it's probably going to go with all of these in the last one, right? Okay, so we have,
I see a correction. In the paragraph that was asked for the library. So the term was created on opening of the next on 2020. Is that the right date? 2020. When was the library built?
2000.
the library itself opened in 2000.
So it says 2020. Is that a mistake?
Oops.
Which
That's for the library campus area served as in-town local history was created on opening the end of 2020.
Oops.
should be 2000.
Should be 2000, make the correction. You know, I didn't remember seeing
And was that a corrected
Here it
version?
is.
Oh, there it is, stop time, I'm sorry, I was looking down, okay, wrong below that, okay. Yep. So that should be, 2000. Good, thank you. Thank you here. Good. All right, so that is a correction that has to be made. So we have a motion to approve the corrected.
I move that we accept it as amended.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, sir. Okay.
I
All right.
missed it. I missed that.
Oh, yeah, no, I read it a couple of times.
I
Didn't register. Didn't register.
New fresh out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Always help. All right, director's report.
Okay. So we would start with budgets and statistics, but I'm going to have Mary go first. Statistics.
Alright, there's some handouts here. And the thing I really wanted to call out to our attention is that one good thing, which our circulation number for materials are back up to pre-COVID numbers, which is really good. That said, the numbers for our visitors, people who are coming here, are at about halfway. So they're getting their books and reading and all of that, but they aren't really coming into the libraries. So that's a question mark right there. Sure, some of that has to do with virtual programs versus in-person programs, as well as people's comfort levels coming back from the building, I guess. But it's worth noting and looking into and seeing if we can find ways to improve that.
So a lot of this circulation is online?
No, so up top you'll see monthly circulation.
Yes.
That number right there is for physical materials.
Physical materials. People are actually
books,
coming-
movies, CDs.
Coming
They're
into the
getting-
building and taking,
They're
but yet
getting
the number of people who are coming in,
are fewer.
fewer, so they're taking more items?
I don't know. I don't know of the monthly circulation. It must be. That's all I can come up.
In September, were people still picking stuff up outside?
No,
No,
we
we
haven't.
haven't had curbside for a number of months. So it is a question mark. So
if they were bubbling, it's one of the biggest,
yeah,
generator.
yeah.
Because in August, the circulation was 49, almost 5,000. And the visitors was just 2,049. Again, double the circulation, so it's double the number of visitors. So I guess it is worth, I don't know how you look into it, but
Right.
Well, when you start saying, okay, this person came in and took 10 books, or 5 books, or 2 books, or whatever,
Right.
moving 3 books, I don't know, if you're gonna get into that kind of,
Well, the real question is why are the numbers, so if you look at the visitors line
yeah.
and you see that we had 1,548 in September, pre-COVID in 2019, September of 2019, those numbers were 2494. So if you're comparing it even on its own, we're not looking at circulation, the numbers are down
Yeah.
significantly.
In September of last year, ironically, it was just about the number of
Yeah.
Except June.
Oh, right.
Right.
Closed toward the end of October, I
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so it's something to start looking at and seeing if, it may just be what's happening right now with COVID variants and questions and all that,
I
so.
know people are living differently.
Right. And we are, doing very well with our digital materials and meeting people kind of where they are, virtually. They're able to get to the library at home, and get a lot of their needs met that way.
I have to say, the catalog on pancakes is getting better.
Yeah.
So remember those are not. Just like baking.
Well, we'll have next month we'll have a new statistical category for hoopla,
Right.
which we kicked off on Friday. So that'll be exciting to see.
Who goes for music?
Hoopla is movies, TV shows, ebooks, audiobooks. I don't think, are you thinking of Freedom? Maybe for music? I don't think of music. Yeah, so check it out. You can get it.
I think I had access to it from my DPR.
You do.
Yes.
Anything else on that?
Not so much. I'm getting some new Google Analytics that are interesting that they just started sending, and that's on the right-hand side here. Where they just give you kind of top areas that people are visiting on the website. We're seeing more and more interaction with the Friends page, obviously because Harvest Fest is coming up. People were wondering in September, like, are we gonna do it, are we gonna do it? Now I'm seeing huge traffic to the front page, so that's great. A lot of interest there.
There's some good coverage in the paper
Yeah.
on the event too, so that's
Right.
helpful. So programming is still,
Well, we forgot to exchange statistics, so there were programs, but it's my bad. I did not send them. I'm supposed to send them without being reminded.
okay.
And I've done that once or twice. So, yeah,
Okay.
so
So
there
were adult programs.
were not a whole lot in September, one or two,
Okay.
a lot in October, which they had consultants and directors report.
Public library is,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
well, it's pretty consistent. You know, it's 1,300 last month. Yeah, okay. All right,
Was that included, obviously, that in the
so anybody that's accessing the Wi-Fi from any location
I believe it's within 100 feet.
within 100 feet. Okay.
I think John Ashton says sometimes they get it.
Ah,
I
okay.
shouldn't say it so much, somebody told me.
John is right there. There's nothing in his way.
It's within 100 feet.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's a straight line. All right, next.
Okay, so, your budget summary is updated as of September 30th. We are 27% of the year. We've spent 20% of municipal salaries and 44% on other expenses. So total municipal budget, not including the building maintenance, is at 30%. That's what the library manages. Building maintenance utilities, which DPW manages, is 18%, so the total budget, we're at about 29%, so we're in a good place. And I think that's about it from there. We basically doubled what we're taking from state aid for salaries, for the increases for Catherine and Katie. So 5.8% of salaries are now being paid with state aid funds.
We have not been notified as to what we're getting for state aid this year.
No, I think it's a little bit all over the place because they didn't do a lot of the usual requirements, like the materials requirement for New York, which will not be the case in FY22. And so I think it's a little bit flux. You can look on the website and see if they filled it in, but I don't think they have. Because you can actually look on the MBLC website and go to the Cheers Hill and find what you are supposed to have.
So if I'm giving us the balance and state aid is 41.9.
Yes,
That's after we've taken out the money for those increases.
that's, no, because those increases are going to happen gradually over the
Gradually
year.
over time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So,
that was the last balance I was given this year from the town. Because they keep those balances. And I've actually asked for the balances for everything now, because what I get is an expenditure report, but that doesn't always give you the balance. It's a little confusing, it's accounting stuff. Clear. So I will have those all the time now, and I will explain why later on, because we've really got to spend a lot more money on materials now. And money is not in our municipal budget.
so the line we're going to look at, the FY22 appropriations, salary and wages from state aid will be 7,900.
Yes, it'll be the 6 6,441 plus the 6,552.
That'll be coming out of 4190.
Yes.
Did you, see the email, from the trustee group from the state asking about, does anybody know if there's anything in writing about, should the Board of Trustees approve using state aid for salaries? And there isn't. And that's what it said in the article. I just was surprised that people didn't know, and some people, the Board of Trustees doesn't vote on anything like that. And that surprised me.
Yeah.
Does it vote on what exactly?
The use of the state aid within the library.
For salaries?
Yeah.
So they,
There's no criteria for it, and some boards don't
some boards don't get
It's
involved.
very unusual.
Yeah.
It's rarely done. We're doing it because we're trying to pull out of the waiver. We've been on it for 17 years, and because people deserve a decent wage.
Yes.
But it's not encouraged, it's allowed. You can see that it's allowed, one of the expenditures is allowed for state aid. But it's very unusual. People might sometimes use it to open on Sunday for a couple hours for Sunday staff, but generally to supplement the budget, it's a little.
But it's not,
What's that?
it's not wrong to do it.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
It's part of that.
Yes.
It's available to us. We recognize that there's justification for doing that. So,
Absolutely.
in the need. And we recognize that those funds are not going to be coming through the normal budgetary process in the immediate future. And we just utilize it as best we can
Yeah.
to meet that need.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so any other questions on the budget? Okay, so, facilities, James Surratt had an electrician replace several light bulbs throughout the building. He also replaced several fixtures which he felt had issues, including the children's bathroom and the two outside the community room next to the Lowe's Anderson Center. For a while. Whatever it was, the ballasts had deteriorated in several of them. You don't have to go into the details, but there's still a little bit of work to be done on the ones outside. Because of the burn.
The ones on the outside of the building?
No, the ones on the other side of these doors.
Oh,
Yeah, you'll see how Johnny might point out. And James told me he was going to get a carpet replacement quotes, and I told him that a bunch of directors last week were recommending adding some carpet to another director. But I haven't heard that. And I did ask him to power wash the spider webs that we have in front of the building, which were unbelievable. Felt like we should have been there for Halloween. They were.
natural decoration.
Yeah. But it's so they can come back. And they're gonna come back and do it again before August Festival. Okay, so programming for adults, we had to cancel both writers' workshop, 8-week session, and beginning watercolor, a 6-week session due to low registration. People definitely seem to be concerned out. Class act extracts did attract 14 people, which was respectable. And discovery of a masterpiece drew 9. And the Polity Estates lecture on Sunday, which was really good, really enjoyed it, drew 8. The writing for wellness and stress relief workshop drew 4 people, which the instructor was happy with. And I think we're in a sort of a double bind in that the same number of people who are tired of Zoom don't want to chance in the events. So it's kind of one of these days. But we have to be creative and think of the best kind of programming we can think of. I don't think we can do whole lot through the holidays, although we are talking about craft, taking new craft for adults, which I think could actually be good, but generally the holidays don't get
Wasn't there
great attendance.
talk about piggybacking with other
Yes,
libraries?
and we did do that with some paranormal events, but that whole project hasn't gotten off the ground yet. It's basically just the man in Tewksbury who just keeps offering his programs to others, and he actually gives it stats to other libraries, which is a lot of work for him, but he does it.
Yeah, because I saw something, saw an email from him recently, that they had a list of authors that they were going to be doing,
Yes,
so.
and they were all on nights that we already had program.
Okay.
Which is the only reason we didn't do it.
Okay.
But yeah, so that there's a committee now with MBOC, and they're trying to get that off the ground, but it's gonna take a while. Program in youth has been off a bit too. I think a lot of that has to do with no vaccines for kids yet. So there is resistance to in-person, but they're also not blocking the computer screen for kids either. Taking make crafts or doing reception of that, which gives people a lot to learn into. KDD, as we call her, introduced the ancient Celts in October's around along with Miss Katie. Not much to that. Tuesday in-person story time is doing respectively. They had a good crowd here today. I believe your friend, John.
Another grandson was here.
Friday and Thursday, the early bird story time is a little opportunity-wise. There aren't as many early birds as we thought. Getting back to some sort of pre-COVID programming is obviously not going to happen, but we're plugging. Our library of things continues to grow. We are now circulating puzzles, outdoor games, a wider variety of ink pens, bird watching kits, and a CD player. Just couldn't assume that was donated by Mary. Which we had several people ask us. In addition, yeah, exactly. Especially for people that have 100 CDs. In addition, in the interest of spending more on materials to meet the state standards, we are now subscribing to the Web, which we talked about a little bit. It's movies, ebooks, and audiobooks, all with a simultaneous use model. So that's the really great thing. No holds, no requests, which people obviously really appreciate for emails. We pay for each use just like with Canopy. And Google provides a lot of marketing materials for both print and social media, which we hope will be of help to Erin. Both the annual ARIS report and the financial report have been filed with the state. We applied for our waiver, and the paperwork to complete that process is due November 1st. We've already sent along with the town accountant has to go, including a letter. We have to write a letter as well. I have been in touch with Kristen Chadwick at the Mass Library System, and we're going to meet next week to discuss launching the strategic plan process. So that's next week, she's on vacation this week. And she confirmed that this is the exact right time to start. Catherine and Emma took the first part of a 2-part cataloging training at MBLC last week, and will take over cataloging material that no one else in the consortium owns from Erin, which will help us to get those materials on the shelf faster. That process often becomes backlogged due to lack of staff and time. Erin attended the assistant directors meeting on Zoom, which you barely remember what we were trying to meet on it before this meeting. It felt like it was a year ago to her. But we did discuss it there. Katie has been getting things together for the Harvest Festival next weekend, trucks and crabs and catchers. Friends and volunteers, friends are gearing up for the Harvest Festival. The raffle jars are already at the library. There's some amazing raffles this year. There will not be food, but there will be police cars, fire trucks, and DPW vehicles, and potential truck for the kids. There will be bocce, cornhole, and croquet in the library grounds, and a curated book sale of horror and holiday books. Did I forget something?
No animals this time?
The photo,
No.
photo booth?
photo booth, that's what I forgot. You want to talk about that?
Just that we're the friends are putting together a photo booth, where families will be able to stop, take a picture, and remember the day, or post it to their Instagram page, or wherever they might want to put it, and hopefully tag us.
The fallback.
Get some corn husks and, moms and,
The literary pumpkin contest will be judged by our own Alex Burke, Tracy Blaze, town administrator, and select person Jerry Healy. We have a multitude of volunteers and are staying on top of shelving and making progress on projects.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, we've got a lot of volunteers.
Good. Take advantage of it. You use them, put them to work.
What we try to do.
All right. All right. Next.
So do
Okay. All right, new business, holiday staffing, what's happening?
Well, I've spoken with Dan Doyle at Town Hall about Christmas and New Year's, and they're still delivering over that. It's a very confusing year, because if the holiday is on a Saturday, you honor it, celebrate it on the Friday. Which for Town Hall, of course, they're closed on Friday, for us, we're open on Friday. So the majority of libraries that I've seen are taking it off. But we have to see where our finishes up. Diane said it's a particularly confusing year. So my hope is that we'll get both Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off with pay. Because it's complicated by the fact that we only work 4 hours on Saturday. Not everybody works that Saturday, so it's confusing.
You working with Town Hall?
Yes. So on Thanksgiving Friday, was it last year that we did that? Or we would like to do again.
Monday,
Yes,
or
what
Monday.
Terry
Friday,
suggested,
it was Terry's idea.
Terry's idea,
Perfect.
to open on.
I'm no turkey.
To open on the Monday and close on the Friday, so I think this needs to be voted by the trustees.
Okay.
The town hall is fine with us doing that.
Okay, is there a motion for opening Monday of Thanksgiving week and closing the Friday?
So,
Second? Okay. All in favor?
I,
Put that in motion, that up on the calendar, really. So,
Yeah, preliminary discussion regarding the FY '23 budget request.
Yeah, I thought we'd just sort of have a loose conversation, I haven't crunched a lot of numbers yet. But I did want to hand out this because, the change to our budget by adding the building maintenance is back in, which I described before, means that we have to spend a larger percentage on materials than before. And it's very confusing on the MUSC website. But I had thought that it was okay for us to strive to spend 17% of our budget on materials and get a lower state aid award. But after talking with Mary Rose Quinn at MLC, she strongly advised me not to do that. I don't even think she understood all the reasons. why, but she said we really want to stay at that 19%, which is considered 100% compliance for our library size and town population. 19, which we've always done in the past. Yes, we've always done 19 in the past, except during COVID. We did, I think it came to 16% for FY21 because the requirements were let go. But for FY22, I had to renew some of these numbers, the funds of what we would have to use. So to explain, in the blue, above each fund, state agency, G&D, donation, Johnson, Ashweek's Media, Ashweek's Books, and Randall Fund. In the blue is roughly what there is to spend, spendable from the fund. This is what the town has determined we can spend. So from state aid, it would be 41. I think that's a single. 41,926. Giving donation is around 13,000. Johnson Fund spendable is about 4,789. So this is not what's in the fund, it's what's spendable. Ashweek's Media, about 1,939 spendable. Ashweek's Books, about 4,513 spendable. And Randall Fund, which is for the benefit of children, 16,294. So if you look at the white numbers, that's what we had all agreed we were going to spend from the funds for materials at the beginning of FY22. But now that we're striving for 19% and not 17%, I've upped those. So I've kept municipal the same because we don't have a penny to squeeze out of our municipal funds. But I added an additional 1,000 to state aid, that's all in the pink. Another 1,000 to give the donation. Up to 2,000 for the Arthur Johnson Fund, which is the fund that's in the discretion of the library. There's a preference for Western's history, but it also states the preference of the librarian. Ashweek's Media, just about 1,000. Ashweek's Books to 2,300 and Randall to 3,000. So these, we have not been spending from these funds for a long time. It took forever to get the balances, to get them separated out from each other. So while it's not ideal, we were trying to spend, the numbers in white was roughly 5% of what was spendable, give or take, which seemed reasonable. But until we get our expense budgets to accommodate the increase that we need to be in full compliance, we're going to need to draw from these funds a little more. And I do think the fact that we haven't spent from them for so long is, should make us feel a little better. It's not something we want to keep doing.
If you feel completely multiple years, but because of bookkeeping issues, they want to spend these, there would be much lower amounts of money in the account that they should spending all along. So if there's a place to catch up with different fiscal responsibilities, that's what we do. And just think forward and back.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad you said that.
Is that money invested in all?
It is.
Yeah.
So most of these balances are from October 2020. So the actual stock market, as we know, has been like this.
Oh, so this is not as of,
Not as of now.
so.
The state aid is, I got that
Right.
in the year, but I'm not usually given these balances unless I ask for them. So I have asked to receive them almost monthly.
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, it's,
I heard about
if you
the
follow
one,
your own investment account, it's been pretty light.
I heard about the one with Smith.
I don't get anything from there, but it should be around 16,000, I think. And I don't include that here just because it's not owned by the town, but that is another fund. So, whether we try to look beyond for help with these these expenditures, Mary Rose said that, I'm not gonna tell you about the bank, but you really need to be at 19%. I don't care where you get the money from, you need to be at 19%.
So for the state reporting purposes, we don't care where we're getting money from.
No.
As long as we're spending 19% of the money we have control over for,
For materials, which the top end, it's just about 70%. Which is 75% of our municipal's budget. So obviously, I mean, I think, and I brought all this up because obviously because the trustees need to vote on it, but also because it obviously influences next year, so I feel we're going to need to ask for a minimum 10% increase in library expenses.
Okay.
Especially considering so much of salaries is going to be.
It would be really nice if we could think of a way to describe materials aside from books to the general public and to the select. Because it's still not something that people think of.
Well,
And we have a pretty big library patrons that we use.
the life,
Library patrons are using all kinds of materials that are books. Right?
Oh, yeah. We know.
So the patrons, we're talking about
Some
patrons, the library.
the
Well,
larger audience, I
The
think.
larger audience of Newbury and the selectmen and people who,
We
who don't
utilize,
come,
we don't
don't
utilize
realize.
that, we don't recognize what we have to offer
yeah,
and what we need to purchase in order to make those offerings.
Yeah.
So,
I just wonder if there's any ideas off in the stratosphere.
So, yeah,
of the
just-
libraries or something.
just for the
of
sake
what
of
they
discussion,
Yeah,
what falls into this category of materials?
the library things does, Hoopla does, and does audio, all the overdrive audio books, you know, it's, I don't
So it's not
remember.
just- It's not just the books that are on the shelf.
No,
correct.
Okay.
And but those on TV, they still run those.
Right.
Those CDs that run those,
yeah, not as many of them.
So it's a whole host of different and innovative things that are being offered that are classified as material, even though it's not something you can pick up and walk out the door with or download on, maybe something you download onto your iPad.
Where do we take things from? We cover all of them?
We had some donated, now we're purchasing. I mean, that's one reason we got Hoopla, and
Okay.
We maybe like online subscription to a newspaper or something like that.
Yeah, so that
Yes,
falls into that,
digital.
so that
Yes.
falls into that category. That's a good point.
And so we got copies of it.
Yes,
Yes.
we're good, okay? Keep doing that. Oh,
yeah, I mean, we only have so much room for things.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, we'd love to double our fiction budget, but we only have so much room. And, you know, we buy records, which was one of our biggest expenditures.
So I think that's a good point. I think there has to be some kind of, description. Over time. I'm not saying
Right.
sit down tomorrow and write, but between now and next budget time, whatever. Kind of descriptive of what's included in the material. I mean, it's not just, videos and music and CDs and books. It's a whole host of other things. It can be digital, and it's databases and subscriptions to, magazines.
Yep, support reports is the one that we can
Okay.
That very expensive.
Oh, I thought you were getting it, we don't have it yet.
I decided not to do it, it's $2,000.
Yeah, and so these things do cost a great bit.
Yes.
Oh, no,
to be able-
absolutely.
To be able to offer.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the educational process that has to take place. That, we're providing access to these things, to Canopy, to Hoopla, and
And the great thing
Oh,
about
but
Canada
yeah.
and Hoopla is we only pay for use.
For use.
So the question is, we're here now discussing the time, what we just said. The question is, what is the best method to get it to people who don't come to the library?
Right.
But if they come to the library, we could put up posters, we could use it, tack it onto a future harvest event or spring break, you know, where there's just a table or a sample.
Yep.
Of everything you can get at the library, right?
Yep.
Most people are already at the library.
Right, exactly, no.
No, or no, most of summer.
Yep.
So the question is,
Those that aren't.
those that are, do they care? Can we make them care? Do they read the newspaper or does that, that's a narrow
And it's very
audience.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's a risky problem, but I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I don't either, but I just,
it's,
we heard about it.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
I know
it's-
some libraries put up things at their, train station stops, which I think is a great idea. I don't know how we do it here. But, you know, people that,
we have a train stop.
well, we do.
It's a good.
Well,
Oh,
but, you know, they talk about, you know, the ebooks on Hoopla that, you know, no waiting list, no nothing, you know. Simultaneously, you know, all of that stuff.
But you have to read it on, you have to read it on a laptop or, you can't move a thing from book to ebook. You can't move it into a Kindle.
Well, you can watch it on TV.
Right.
But you can't get it on.
An ebook, you can't move it. You have to watch it on using the proprietary software.
Really?
So, you know, you can watch it on you can read it with ebook on your.
I'm pretty sure Kindle is one of the devices they have listed for the
Well,
books.
You know better than I do. I know that, I think I did fool around with it, and I noticed that it was funneling me to its own system. And I read on my note, on my keyboard. So,
We're gonna have to investigate that.
so the question is, can you know, if it's like a library book, you can read on a nook and then it's off, and it goes back
Right.
into the ebook.
Right.
So the question is, does that, anyway, we don't have to put that here.
We'll get back to you on that.
This is a topic that could be included in the strategic planning process. And as a major focus of our next strategic plan, this discussion, how do we in fact, we've talked about this before, how do we educate people about what it is that we do?
Right.
And we talk about every time you have this opportunity to interact with somebody, take advantage of it. Just, you know,
I just wonder
that's
too,
the stuff that you do, you know.
if there are places where we could put up something, like at the train station, but in Newbury itself, certain businesses, like hypothetically, say Tendercraft Farm, because a lot of people go,
Yeah.
or
Or even town hall.
town hall, or the fire departments, the
Well, we
police
need to-
department.
The flyers are at town hall, but that's events.
Right, but for outreach, we probably want more person-to-person type of experience. So September, for example, is National Library Card Month. So we have the technical ability to set up a little table, if Tendercraft allowed it, and say, hey, it's National Library Card Month, do you want to get your library card and talk to them there?
Yeah.
Or have,
Or the butcher, or some of the other local businesses.
it's great, and meet people where they are.
Yes.
I think that's
No,
the
absolutely.
most
But I think it should
trendy
be,
thing.
I think it could be something that can be woven into and integrated into the strategic planning process, so that we have a logical plan that over the
Yeah.
course of the next year of that strategic plan, we're going to try this. And it could be one of these things, you try it, it doesn't work.
Right.
And you say, okay, you know, we'll try something else. You know,
Yeah,
because we've always talked about, it. The support is gonna come when this place is important to a whole host of people for different reasons,
right.
you know?
Turn it into a senior center.
Well, that's another thing.
A couple of questions, these are basic, forgive me, or not.
Yes, you will.
Looking at your budget here for the current fiscal year. Right? So this 19% number, is that a factor of total municipal budget?
Yes.
Okay, so of the 312,000 approximately, we need to spend approximately 20% of that.
No, it's actually the 366. I keep that total municipal budget for the library there, because that's where I have to look at.
366, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's your
That
actual
adds
line.
in the building.
Okay,
expenses.
so we need to be looking at 19-20% of that.
Yes.
Second question that's come up as we're checking here. Canopy. Aaron, you're distinguishing between plays and visits. We pay per play, is that about it? What's the cost?
At $2 a play. It's maybe it's gonna be a little bit more. We've got several different pricing categories.
Depending on the stuff, I suppose.
Yes.
So do we have an upset figure on canopy on the scene?
I have to sort of give them a pre-budget, like they sort of have a bank. And they let me know when our bank is getting low. And I say,
Oh, it's just like the toll thing.
Yeah.
put another 200 in, and
Oh,
so, yeah, I mean, it never, I don't think there's a cap, there is a cap with Hoopla. Each patron can put in about 6 items per month,
okay.
but there is no cap.
Well, if it
Oh,
takes
there
us to such a level that it becomes not so affordable, we probably would put the caps on them, so
Yeah.
that everybody had equal opportunity to use it.
But there is who can't be as a
Because,
Yeah.
I'm plays left.
Right, okay. But you're not a user, so.
Well, not a heavy user. I'm not even a frequent user, but I'm a delighted user.
That's the part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I, so long ago I started that, they would, I can approach me. They even trying to go above 10. Anything else?
Not at the moment.
Do we have something we need to
Okay.
vote on?
Yeah, what do we need to vote on? Do you want
Gene.
us to vote on this?
Is this sheet represented 22 or 23?
The current fiscal year?
Third fiscal year. Because we've gone up to the 19% from
Right.
17%.
We need to
We
adjust
will
the
vote
budget.
on adjusting the budget.
Oh,
So it's,
so this is current,
Yes.
or projected current.
so we're projecting change the numbers as shown
In the pink,
in the
Yes.
pink.
Yeah.
So that reflects the FY 22 expenditure of 19%.
we still haven't got a handle on the Lois Smith.
Which was always supposed to be for technology, but I don't think it was. Wrong. That was-
That was one of our goals when we first started. When we started trying to do additional fundraising to augment that amount. We were trying to solid on that it was going to be focusing primarily on technology and advancing and improving technology. Fundraising was absolutely no. We were holding the money that was originally contributed. Any other money ever came in for
I
that.
think Melissa keeps donating every year, I think.
She's the only one for it. And the thought was to tap into all of those people that Lois knew. And that would be an incentive, one thing was talking about raising $250,000. So
Well, I'm happy to
Just in
having a foundation that did and so forth, and that, I think what it is. We had what was originally contributed, that's been invested for ever since, and we haven't tapped into it.
This investment is done by town.
Yeah, it's done, it's held by the
Essex
Essex Community.
Community Foundation.
All of these are just
No, it's just
Yeah,
now.
no, these are all helpful.
Those are held by the town, the other one is,
in an aggregated account, I would think.
I don't know how they invest it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Lower Smith is
Well, it's
also
a separate, that's in its own account, and that's in the Essex County,
Community
Community.
Foundation, ECCF.
and actually, a couple of us were.
And who has control of that account, other than ECCF? Does it report to us?
It can, we have to go on the website and retrieve that, which I forgot to do, so I can do that.
So it's doable.
Yeah, I'd say there's around 50,000, so, you know, if we wanted to earmark, say, all of our technology needs and our databases from there for the next 3 years, that, you know, that's something we could consider as well. So I'll look into that for the next week.
When the laptop stuff is placed, the computer things out there,
That actually, strangely enough, not strangely, but the MDLC, the Board of Library Commissioners, now allows you to take or to consider as materials computers and technical equipment that are purchased for the public, for staff.
Right.
so the public,
So for the public workstations out
Right,
there.
we have 2 new ones this
Including
year,
the
and I
payroll and
included that in there. That's brand new, it's only the last 2 or 3 years.
policy.
Yeah.
But the lap, machinery is more recent than 2 years, 3 years ago. So we bought everything
Yeah,
else.
the two laptops that would circulate any data. Yes, but
Circulate,
I think
library of things,
the library things all, yes.
They have a good warranty.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did purchase 2 new computers, PCs, for the public last year, and that's it. It's part of the materials. But with the state.
And on this
So we need,
multicolored sheet, this column is stuff,
Yes, this needs to be updated.
categories of goodies
Right,
required or
this is
whatever.
what the staff uses to see where they're at in their budgets, because these are all ordered, most of these items are ordered by the members of the staff. The column that's second from the left is what's budgeted, but that I have to update that all. Stuff in blue is all stuff that's kind of in flux.
Okay,
And as you can see, the total at the bottom is only 61,830, so,
as opposed to the 69,648.
so we
so you need to allocate more money to some of these things, new items.
yes, and they're like half of the budget.
So we need to vote to modify, amend our materials budget for FY '22.
Yeah.
The original was 63,858 to 60,648.
Yes, and I think we should include the additional funds to come from the funds. Does that make sense?
So you want to identify, you want the vote should indicate each fund that the money is coming from?
I don't know if I have to do each fund, I would just say the additional, I mean, it's up to you if you want a specific amount, or if you want to say the entities would come from funds, and we probably should list, right, maybe to list the amount, we should list the funds.
So I, if I'm writing the minutes, I'll write the list of the funds that are
Yeah. So, all right. So is there a motion to have these additional materials funds come out of these funds?
Funds, and not the municipal budget,
Moved. Second.
Second.
Okay.
What is that study stand
Hatcheries.
We distinguish, Jane, between the corpus of these funds and the spendable components. One is done, the other,
We can, for most of these funds, we can only spend the interest. So that's why there's a spendable amount. I've only listed the spendable amount. I haven't listed the low amount. I just listed the spendable amount.
would this be an accrued or accumulated spendable amount, interest? Now designated as spendable or?
Well, I don't know exactly what, this isn't completely updated. I don't have numbers as of yesterday.
But it reflects the earnings of those investments. So there's the interest that has been earned on the principal amounts. We're not touching principal amounts.
No.
Okay. And I think, Alex, this could be cumulative over a period of time.
Okay.
We haven't tapped into any of this.
Yes, and the plan had been, once we got this all settled out, the town, to just spend a percentage. I've got it here, it was supposed to be 5%,
No, it's normal.
but now we're gonna dive a little deeper because circumstances.
But we're still not touching the principle of the corpus.
No, because some of them were restricted, we can't, it's,
Sure.
we can only spend the interest. And there was a period of time where this stuff was very confusing, and nobody really had good accounting on
I
it.
don't know.
Even more so than now.
Or even more so than that, yeah, I mean, thank God, I mean, giving the treasurer and the accountant credit for what they did. They dove into this and it took them quite a while to kind of get a better handle on, not a perfect handle, but a better handle on
My goodness.
It's been like a
principal
year.
amounts.
It's been like a year.
Oh, yeah, that was,
Longer than that,
yeah,
it's gonna work out.
yeah, so it was a yeoman effort on their part. Yeah, and, it's get a better understanding of what we have.
And I didn't highlight either that both Hatch Weeks accounts are for children's, as is Randall's. The Arthur Johnson is for adults. So we will order a bunch of books on trucks and I'll take it.
Watch Katie.
Yeah. Katie is a spender. Likes to spend.
She has models sitting in
I
some of
thought we
her
were-
office too.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean, someone will just have to take over
Okay,
finishing up the minutes, quietly before they.
all right,
What
so
time?
this is, do you have anything else on the budget?
No,
All right.
Enough already, huh?
All right, old business, the update on the meeting with, on the town archives. Hadn't seen the minutes, it was a good meeting, I thought,
I did too.
yeah, it was, everybody seemed to be engaged and excited about being involved in it. It was good to have Leslie there. She has real experience dealing with, the town records, having, digitized, a lot of them, most of them. I think there's some inventory that still needs to be done on their part, which I believe
Terry.
Terry is gonna be doing.
Yes.
Yes, in your
Books.
capacity
I
as.
went and saw her today and she has done the things that were in boxes, the documents. So
Okay,
it's the books that I'll be doing. And she's developed a spreadsheet that everybody.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
she
she
said
showed
it.
us, yes. And, as a follow-up to that meeting, Alex, Jean, and I met to discuss, get a better handle on what we needed to do in the library. And since we were the initiators of this, we're kind of in the forefront here and trying to keep this thing moving. And we identified we have to complete our inventory, and you have potentially a volunteer who worked with Jane at one point, who may be willing to complete the inventory. So the goal right now is to get all of the inventories done for the historical commission, for us, and for what Leslie has to do. The next step would be, I think we agreed in the last meeting, would be once that is done, we would then look to bring in an archivist to help us go through those inventories to determine what we can discard and what should be digitized, and then send things out to be copied, those things that need to be copied. And then fourthly would be developing an integrated portal that would give somebody who's interested in whatever it is that they're looking for, they can go into this single portal, which would then access the data that's in our inventory, Leslie's inventory, the clerk's, town's inventory, and the historical commission, without these people having to go to each one of them separately. That this would be able to pull that data up for them, and that would be it.
I think it was good that at that meeting, Tracy recognized it as a whole program.
And she,
So
yes,
that it
she
wouldn't
clearly
be so
stated that, you know, this is a project.
piecemeal.
And it was something, it's a town project. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the library project, it's not the historical commission, it is a town effort.
Mhm.
And I think that was clearly identified.
And I think Leslie, when we were chatting with her, made it clear that the initiative to digitize the town's records sourced directly from Tracy, conservation of town records. And, you know, here we are,
Yeah.
continuing with that. So
So it's,
logically,
yeah, it's building on that. So there has been support
mhm,
from the municipal government
Yep.
to continue this, recognizing that what we have for documents, if I can, I forget where I read it, maybe it was in the roving archivist report, that we have some of the oldest records in the country. You know, going back to 1646 or something?
35,
35?
36 is the
36,
first town
okay.
meeting. And it's not only the oldest, but the most continuous
Yeah.
Yeah.
flow of records.
So, and again, something else we wanted to build on. How do we get that information out there to people to let them know that we have these kinds of documents?
Once we're ready to handle them.
You know, yeah, so I mean, it's kind of eye-opening to get involved in this discussion, and I think we want to get this information out over time. But the first thing is to get the inventories done.
Yep.
And we try to do that with minimal or no cost, and then we have to talk about what does it mean to bring an archivist on board to help us decipher this stuff, and what kind of money. And is there something available through the state? And maybe they can provide somebody at no cost or minimal cost, so. And then not really have to deal with any cost until we get into the whole, you know, print, photocopying or whatever, digitizing, I guess, it's not photocopying, it's digitizing. Not be throwing it on the photocopier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have to go.
Okay,
Bye.
Alex, will you take, it's just the notes on the votes and the time we,
Yep.
we
We
chip
start,
on it.
yeah. Yeah,
And I'll do.
You're good up to this point
Well.
with the motion on the FY '22.
I have the last vote.
Yep.
Was the vote on the
that's
vote.
it. And then the last thing actually was this discussion on
Just
some of the
chit-chat,
archives.
so.
This is gonna be pretty much it, I would think. So,
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
cool.
So if anything else transpires, we'll,
No, I think another time, and the day of the next one.
yes, okay,
Email it over if you want it looked at,
yeah,
or a pension too.
so, excellent,
I think
thank you. All right,
All right.
so,
So do I have a final minutes from the last meeting to send to the website?
for the,
If the only correction was the year.
yeah, the 2020,
All right, so I'll make that correction on my copy and
Yeah.
I'll get it on the town website.
okay.
Did I send you the most recent
Yeah,
The only one I have in front of me was the one from the joint meeting.
Yes, that is the last one.
That's the last
That's the
one.
last one. And the only change to that was the,
date of opening?
yeah, the date of opening, the 2020. Yeah.
Nice to see you all again.
thank you.
Okay.
So long,
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
We didn't choose another date, but.
Okay, no, we can
Let's
discuss
bring
that.
out in the time, so.
And we'll, yeah, we'll let Dick,
So I
know
don't
what
show
time
up.
we adjourn and what the date of the next meeting is.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
All right.
all right.
Have a good night.
So Dave,
So a date for the next meeting.
Yes.
So I guess
Is there
only
any
the
chance
meeting
we
at
can
7 o'clock doesn't matter, the public still doesn't come. I guess I'm on camera for that one.
If we're gonna do it at 7, we'll do that on a Wednesday. Does anybody remember why we moved from Wednesdays?
No?
Well,
no,
at one
Because that
point,
just works out
there
much
was
better for
something,
everybody.
because the genealogy club was gonna be then, or there was a conflict in the schedule. But
Oh, okay.
Well, we could do it on a Wednesday, that would be.
All right, that's fine.
10th?
And you still want 7?
You know, I don't particularly, I'm not crazy about it, but I think in terms of, as a public meeting, I think
Yeah.
it's more accommodating for the public. To do something at 5:30 when people are just on their way home from work and maybe not even arrived, I mean, if they choose to come, that's, you know, yeah. If we can shoot for 7, I know it's, especially if you're gonna do it on Wednesday, it's gonna make a long day, so. Well, this makes a long day too.
Wednesday
All
is,
the,
would that be good for you? I mean, we're
Well-
open till 7 anyway.
yeah,
Right, but what happens is, when we're both going to be staying until 8 or after, that means we come in later, which can short staff the staff here, when they don't have us here. So it affects staffing.
Doesn't everything?
Yes. Yes, everything does.
Honest to God.
Yeah,
Not that it's not insurmountable.
okay, no, we'll
We can do it.
try to be as accommodating as possible.
Of course.
Yeah.
You guys matter profoundly.
Yeah. So do you have a date?
well, let me
Central?
see. What about November 17th?
Wednesday, November 17th?
Yes.
Okay.
all right.
And what time?
You know,
7 p.m.
7, let's shoot for 7, see how that works again. Okay.
And if it blows things up, just,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if we find that where we get into trouble is if somebody calls in sick.
Right.
Which would
Right.
probably just mean that I won't be here and I'll cover that, and,
Right,
Yeah,
you know,
right,
there's 2 of us, so that's
okay,
yeah, that's true.
all right. So is there anything else that needs to be
that would, we could try that out.
addressed this evening?
I don't
You know,
think so.
Maybe we could Zoom too.
Or use the owl.
Ooh. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see, because Ethan's supposed to come home and figure out how to use it.
Right.
So, yeah, that's.
Are they zooming any meetings in town?
The selectmen were supposed to vote whenever their meeting was to allow boards to do it if they chose to.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, the only thing I had was volunteers for Christmas. We're not going to have a luncheon, but we are going to do something
Okay.
nice.
All right,
And the
and,
trustees voted several years back to take those funds for peer donation.
so, and we have the Harvest Festival is this weekend.
Yes,
Okay. All right.
make a pumpkin.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
A what?
Have fun at it.
All right,
There
so
can't
is
go.
there a motion to adjourn?
So,
Okay, so,
I adjourn.
okay, you want to shut that thing off?
now you do, gonna stick with